So all throughout his life, Donald Trump claims that he is a self-made man. All the stuff that, all the money that I have, all the success, that is owed to me and me alone, me and my gigantic, beautiful brain and my smart business savvy. I got great brain. It's kind of funny that that same business savvy did lead to 6 bankruptcies. Just saying. A new bombshell report by the New York Times basically knocks that myth aside, the myth of the self-made man, and shows that, look, he got all this money not by having a big, beautiful brain and being smarter than everybody else and being a better businessman than everybody else. No, it's because of daddy. Not only that, but this same report also goes into how he used tax schemes and how he tried to basically screw his own siblings out of their inheritance as well. Because all the money that daddy gave him wasn't enough. He had to go after his siblings' money. It's amazing. Now, the Times reveals that based on 100,000 pages of financial records, including 200 pages of Fred Trump's tax returns, and those of the Trump empire's partnerships and interviews with Fred Trump's former associates, Trump has received the equivalent of $413 million in 2018 money from his father's real estate empire, starting when he was a toddler and continuing to this day. So that's a lot of money just given to him, just showered on him by his daddy. There ain't nothing self-made about that. In fact, by age 3, Mr. Trump was earning $200,000 a year in today's dollars from his father's empire. He was a millionaire by age 8. By the time he was 17, his father had given him part ownership of a 52-unit apartment building. Soon after Mr. Trump graduated from college, he was receiving the equivalent of $1 million a year by his father, or from his father. The money increased for the years to more than $5 million annually in his 40s and 50s. Oh, no, I only got a small loan of $1 million from my dad, and then I had to pay it back with interest. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. If you think Donald Trump is a self-made man, you are a sucker. He has suckered you in hook, line, and sinker. The only talent that Donald Trump has is that he can get people to believe his bullshit. But he's a terrible businessman. I mean, again, imagine getting millions of dollars handed to you. Now also imagine fucking it up and going bankrupt. According to the report, Fred Trump came to his son's financial rescue numerous times as the president's businesses floundered. He withdrew nearly $50 million from his real estate empire in 1990 when Trump hotels and casinos were drowning in debt, indicating that Fred wanted plenty of cash on hand to bail out his son if need be. Fred also arranged a purchase of $3.3 million in casino chips from Trump's Castle Casino in Atlantic City the same year to keep his son from defaulting on a bond repayment. You get handed all that money, but you are so much of an incompetent businessman, a fool, an idiot of epic proportions, and you continue to lose that money over and over again. And here comes daddy bailing you out every time. That is privilege. That is extreme privilege. That is amazing. But I'm a self-made billionaire. I made everything myself because I'm so smart. Oh my God. You realize when he calls people dumb? That is massive projection. Donald Trump is the dumbest, worst businessman I've ever seen. Ever seen. And look, I got more information because this is a long, very detailed probe. It's one of the most detailed probes into the president and his finances and his father's finances that has ever been. Incredibly detailed. Now, more of the details here. Between 1989 and 1992, according to tax records, 4 entities created by Fred Trump to support his children paid Donald Trump's today's equivalent of $8.3 million. And not only that, but tax records reveal that in the peak of Mr. Trump's financial distress, his father extracted extraordinary sums from his empire. In 1990, Fred Trump's income exploded to $49,638,928, several times what he paid himself in other years in that era. And of course, as I said before, that went to his son because he's a terrible businessman. Terrible. He was literally born on home base, thought he hit a triple, and then went bankrupt. He's terrible at this. Not only that, but both he and Fred are also tax cheats. By setting up a fraudulent corporation through which Trump and his 4 siblings passed huge monetary gifts from their parents, they were able to avoid paying millions of dollars in taxes. Just one of several tax schemes Trump helped orchestrate in order to enrich himself, according to the Times. Now, records indicate that Mr. Trump helped his father take improper tax deductions worth millions more. He also helped formulate a strategy to undervalue his parents' real estate holdings by hundreds of millions of dollars on tax returns, sharply reducing the tax bill when those properties were transferred to him and his siblings. Now, how much wealth? Trump's parents transferred over $1 billion in wealth to their 5 kids. A sum which would have left or should have left the family with a $550 million tax bill. But the Trumps paid just $52.2 million, or about 5%, rather than 55% under the tax code at the time. So understand, these guys are tax cheats. They literally screwed the government, i.e. us, out of money that they owed. A lot of these are illegal. Now, of course, the statute of limitations has passed. There can still be civil fines, but look, if they had found this out when this had happened or right after this had happened, they would have gone to jail. That's how serious these tax schemes are. And the Trump family, look, Fred Trump. Now, here's the thing about Fred Trump. So look, he's a racist and a terrible person outright. He's also a tax cheat. But there was one thing Fred Trump was good about, or should say good at. He was actually good at building a business. He built a successful business, and then, of course, used tax cheats and stuff to help his kids. He didn't want them, his fortune going to estate taxes. Now, Donald, of course, Donald's just a terrible businessman. Who relied on daddy's money to bail him out time and time again. And both together, they cheated taxes that they owed for their extravagant wealth. Now, I'm already seeing Republicans saying, oh, you know what? That actually makes them smart. So you think breaking the law makes you smart? Breaking tax codes. To them, yes. That's a virtue. That's not a bug. It's a feature. Oh, that makes me like Donald Trump even more because he screwed the American government out of tax money that he owed. But some of these people fail to realize, and it's not just the pundits, but the people actually believe the pundits because the pundits are multi-millionaires. So they look at that and they're like, oh yeah, I don't want to pay the estate tax. No, I hate the estate tax. Boo, boo. Yay, Donald Trump and Fred Trump for skipping out on that, for starving the government of revenue. But no, I'm talking to the voters, right? You realize when people like Fred and Donald don't pay their taxes, you make up the difference. You make up the difference. You end up paying what they don't. That's why the share of income taxes paid by middle-class Americans has risen. Whereas, of course, the share of wealthy people has decreased. That's what this is about. And look, the question is, what happens when you don't pay your taxes? You go to jail. You go to jail. But did Donald Trump go to jail? Did Fred Trump? No, absolutely not. Because that is what wealth and privilege buys you in America. That's what this is. That's what you see over and over and over again. People like Fred and Donald getting away with everything because they are incredibly wealthy. And Donald Trump didn't earn a goddamn dime of it. That's who he is. Not a self-made billionaire. He's a pathological liar, a cheat, a con man, a snake oil salesman. Not a billionaire. And you wonder why he doesn't want us to see his tax returns. That's why. Because he's a cheat. That's who Donald Trump is. If you still believe in him, if you still back him up, then you're backing someone up who literally lies to your face constantly and screws you out of money. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.